Hello everybody. Welcome back to another CreamCatCorner stream. So, today we are doing another run of Dome Keeper. Just a heads up, I did play this game a little bit this week because, as I said previously in the last stream, I want to unlock most of the stuff that you can unlock. And if I were to spend my time playing this game on stream, I will not be able to unlock most of it. So, what I did was, we did unlock a new dome. Last time we played until the artillery dome, and afterwards I played until I got the sword dome and the Tesla dome. And I have tested both of this new dome, and so far I don't like the sword dome. I have to be honest. But I do like the Tesla dome though. It looks and feels very good to play. And also, I did unlock a new pet. I think it was new on the stream. Last stream we only unlocked the cat, and then afterward I did get a new. Uh, I want to say it's a kiwi bird, but I don't know. What else? Suit. Okay, did I get a new suit? No, that one. Oh, also I did unlock a new gadget, which is the repellent, and also the. I think the orchard we already done. Uh, I unlocked the prestige, and I think something like that. Okay, so I'm not sure which one to choose. Should I choose the repellent one or should I choose the orchard one? So the orchard allows us to move faster and also to dig faster due to the buff that you get from consuming the fruit. The repellent does offer the benefit of making the enemies move slower and also debilitate most of the enemy if you choose to unlock the features. So, I think I'm gonna go with Orchard. Uh, and also I did get a lot of this run modifier. I think the last time we unlocked the triple sorry, the quick and feeble mode run modifier, and then afterward I did get all of this. I've only tried this, and I only recently just unlocked the maze. Um i think i think maybe just the normal one. I'm playing on normal difficulty. I know. Oh god, I'm not that confident yet on this game to play on the harder difficulty. So we're just gonna go ahead and do the normal difficulty and play on the huge map, if that makes sense. So, I am gonna try and do this all in. This is just the one run for the stream, and afterwards there is another game that I wanted to try. So, if you do not know, I am a huge fan of Hades from the Supergiant game. And recently, there is a patch update. I just got curious as to whether or not my PC can really run it or something like that. Because on the Steam page, the requirement requires you to have a GPU of GTX 980 or something like that, 9 something. And I only have the GTX 750 Ti, so meaning that my PC is not very strong to run it. But when I'm not streaming, I just tried it and I did. The game played smoothly. I think I played on the first level only, and it seems pretty good. And I did test something with OBS running to see if it's have a load on the game or not, but it doesn't seem to be having any problem. So the real challenge will be to run the game and also stream at the same time, and I do not want to test it during the weekdays because I have been busy this week. So yeah, this is gonna be the test stream for me. So yeah, we are gonna do this one run and then see how it goes. Okay. So basically this game is really relaxing for me and I really do not want to challenge myself and make myself frustrated with the game. Um, yeah, if I want to have a challenge, I would in the future, but for me right now, my life has been hectic, man. I've been so busy this week and this upcoming week, uh, on Wednesday, I think, it's gonna be extra busy period of time for me. Oh god, there's nothing. Oh, and to make things worse, my throat has been acting up. I've got several ulcers. One at the top flap of my mouth, and the other is on underneath my tongue. So yeah, if I am slurring a bit, do pardon me because I am a little bit in pain right now. Okay, so this is the Tesla Dome, by the way. So, ooh, okay, wait. I don't have any water, so first thing first, let's upgrade our drill strength because our drill strength is very pathetic right now. So how this works is that you need... Oh god. You need to charge the circle thingy. And let me tell you, when I first used this Tesla Dome, I have to admit it was very confusing. But I think right now I'm comfortable enough with the mechanic. Oh, okay. Oh, it's snowing outside. I think the last time I played this, I unlocked the mushroom world, but I'm not sure because the world, I think it was very randomized, if I have to say. You don't know how or where you will be spawned in. Oh god, okay, so definitely gonna pick up the pace right now. Okay, so first thing first, let's do our drill strength. I have to say though, I have used Drillbit before, and Drillbit is so fun. And also, one of the upgrade that you can do is have a twin, and the twin's name is so funny to me. I was laughing when I was playing it. The okay, the drill, the drill creature is called Drillbird, and its twin is called Drillium. So funny. Okay, so the first few section here is, I want to say easy, but I have been compromised before. Ooh, okay. This is good. This is good. Okay, so I'm not sure what kind of supplement this. I think this was called the supplement, but I'm not sure what it does. Oh god, okay. Blast mining or stun laser. I think stun laser is gonna be benefit. It's gonna benefit me much better in the long term rather than blast mining. But I could be wrong. This is a huge map, by the way. So I might, I might have to shut the lasers if I were to have any chance of surviving this. So stun laser it is. Oh, okay. I keep forgetting to upgrade some stuff. So definitely gonna improve my speed. Because as things are right now, we are very slow. And then increase our carry strength, and then let's at least have the basics done. So the Tesla dome in the beginning is very weak, but I guess that applies to most of the stuff that you can do in the game. Otherwise you will be too OP in the beginning, right? So I think that's the rationality behind it. I don't know how people can do this game in like such short amount of time. But then again, I haven't seen a lot of how people play this game exactly. So let's have the duration of the fruit last longer so that we can dig deeper for much longer. And I think that should be enough. I should be upgrading the Tesla Dome soon. So I should be focusing my resources on finding those kind of stuff. So more water is good. Woo! Okay, this is very good. Okay, let's see what kind of surprise. This is like getting a Kinder surprise. Kinder egg. So let's see what kind of things we have. Dome Resurrection. Ooh, okay. I have used Dome Resurrection before and it is really useful when you were getting absolutely obliterated by a huge horde of enemies. So I'm gonna choose the Dome Resurrection. Just in case, because right now we don't have a lot of cobalt, the pink triangle stuff that is used for repairs. We have water and we have a lot. So the square thingy is called iron. I think in the last stream I said it was gold. It's not. I I hate these flying enemies. Oh, okay. I can dig faster. Let's do this. Yeah, I should be upgrading my weapon right now. What am I doing? Okay, let's go send off this first. Yeah, now do you guys see, right? The benefit of having a, a laster, sorry, not a faster, a longer lasting fruit effect, especially in the beginning. Okay, I should go. While I still have the chance to go and do something. Well, okay, nope. Let me see the Tesla Dome. Aim radical, move faster. That is very good. Ooh, short power as well. So let me do the radical speed and the short power. That ooh, I should have choose the electro orb So the electro orb is very good because it makes your shot generate an electric field, which is very good to deal with smaller enemies. Let's hope. Come on, man, I miss. Oof, this is this is bad, isn't it? Okay. I definitely gonna need to move my ass. Otherwise, we would not survive. Yeah, I don't remember what is this used for, but I'll take it. Oh, okay. So this is very good. This allows us to see much further. So that means I can dig twice or 2 rows in between instead of having to do one by one like this. So that is very good. Okay. Is it? It doesn't feel like it. Or does it only allow us to see at a wider angle? I feel like that's the thing, huh? Okay, that's... I was bamboozled. Okay, you know what? That's fine. That's on me, actually. So this only gives me a bird's eye view of the stuff happening. So it's not exactly good, but it's not exactly the worst either. So we definitely gonna need some help here. Especially with our radical speed. I was kinda hoping that that is the buff that we get, but turns out it's not. So, you win some, you lose some, right? So I'm just... yeah, this is just my OCD. Not even OCD, I shouldn't have used that word. Okay, there's another iron deposit. And water. Ooh, okay. Just my luck. Okay. I want to say that just my luck that when I had to deal with a stronger wall, it's the fruit effect has ran out. I'm coming, I'm coming. Okay, so definitely gonna need to repair for a bit. Come on, man. Oof. Yeah, that is bad, isn't it? Oof. Okay, okay, okay. Tell me this is something good. Please, I need help. Okay, let's do that first. How much can I carry before I am encumbered? Not a lot. Oof. Yeah, that is something bad, isn't it? Why do I do this? I don't know, maybe it's just me clearing stuff up, whatever it is. Come on, man. Okay, combat repair. It's not ideal, but it could have been worse. Okay, I definitely gonna need to purchase the electro orb right now. Kinda have to actually. Oh, okay, sorry. Already, it's been helping us quite a bit right now, so I'm glad I put some of my resources into the uh what is it called again? Oh gosh. Electro orb, that's the word. My god. Yeah, this is gonna be tough, I can tell. You know what? Just dig as deep as you can, as further as you can. Oh, okay, that is the resource tree. Okay, that is good. Thank God we didn't uh use up the cobalt deposit. We can use that to mine free cobalt. Ooh, okay, this is getting really concerning, I have to say. So definitely gonna need to increase my radical speed. Oh wait, quick shot. Quick shot is very good. Let's do quick shot. And we don't have anything good. Anything good for anything else. Should I use the snare root? Hell yeah. Okay, let's take the tree root. Something tree root. Oh, okay. Yeah, let the tree spread its root over that cobalt uh, resource. Man, this is a little bit slow, I have to say. Okay, definitely gonna go ahead and go back so that we have enough time to defend. Oh god, this is just my greedy ass. Woo, okay, nice. Okay, the snare root is doing its job. Very good, very good. Now, I think it's safe to say that we need to do something about our carry strength. Because right now we are really not doing good in terms of our carry strength. It's bad enough that we have a very slow flying speed, jetpack speed. Combine that with the fact that we got slowed down during the process, which is not good. So let me do that first. Carry strength 2. Oh, okay. I can do carry strength. Oh, wait, no. I will definitely gonna need to improve my drill strength. Again, this is a huge map. So we definitely have to take that into consideration. Okay, this is good. Oh shoot! Oh god, I did not pay attention. Ah! Okay, okay, okay. Oh god, okay. Look at how close we were to being dead. Yeah, that's... Oh god, okay. Definitely gonna need to pick up the pace right now. So what is this? Oh, thank God. Okay. Okay, so our iron reserve is... We need to find more iron. We have a lot of water. So we need to do something about that. Ooh, a lift. Okay, a lift is very good because it allows us to concentrate on just mining. Okay, have a lift. Okay, you know what? Let's focus on our defenses first. Oh, okay. God, okay. I'm scared. I have died before using Tesla Dome, so it's not as straightforward. So definitely gonna take that into consideration after this. Okay, so I only have to bring this resources to this left thingy and let the orb do its job while I focus on mining. See, look at how fast we are moving right now. The lift is definitely the better option between the two. Because the teleporter, as much good it is, it only works in the short term, if that makes sense. Oh god, I shouldn't be drilling. Whereas the lift thingy does help us to get our resources to our base quite as quickly. Hello Zimni, hello. How is the run? The run is doing good. I have played this game in the downtime and I have unlocked so much, and I had a ton of fun unlocking the stuff. Bear in mind, I've never played on the normal. Sorry, this is normal. The harder or brutal difficulty. So right now I'm having a fun time with it. How are you, by the way? How's your week? Okay, so I definitely gonna need to improve on my defenses after this because we already have 23 iron, and I have to say, if I don't do any sort of upgrade to my defenses, I am gonna be having a rough time. You're good, resting after running. Ooh. And how far did you run? Are you preparing for a marathon or something? Five kilometers. Ooh, impressive. Anyways, I hope you stayed hydrated, especially replenish your electrolytes. Okay. Okay, good. By the way, do you like the Tesla Dome, Zimni? For me, I really love the Tesla Dome if I have to choose. Marathon is way too much for you. Looking at my dome, I think I need to replenish my cobalt. Oh yes, my cobalt is not that good. I only have 2 cobalt right now. And I know I do need to repair, but yeah, that can wait. Usually, even in the middle of a monster attack, I will take the chance to do it as late as possible, because cobalt for me, I don't know, it's so much. I don't know. I want to say scarce. Should I improve my... No, I should improve my speed. Tesla is broken, OP. Cannot wait for the nerf next update. It makes runs on Prestige way too long. Oof. Is it OP? Well, I do like it though. I have never played on Prestige before, so I do not know how it works on Prestige. Prestige is just you gathering resources, right? Kinda like an endless mode. Or am I wrong? Because that is the vibe that I got from reading the description. Ooh, okay. I think this one is the one that allows me to dig much not higher. Allows me to see like 2 rows in between. Oh, come on, no iron at all? Okay, where is the iron? Are you kidding? Okay, just be patient. There we go. Nice, okay. Okay, this is very good. Now I can make strategic guesses. Okay. Okay. Got it. I spent way too much time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, come on. We can do this. Ah! Okay. Okay, we have enough coin. Let's improve our health. Uh-oh. Hello? That's weird. Oh no, indeed. You love prestige. Ooh. Okay. I cannot say I love it or I hate it because I've never played prestige. I've only played the relic hunter mode because I want to unlock most of the thing that is available to the game. Okay, so I do not have to do that. Do I? Okay, I do. Some things you can only unlock in prestige. Oh, okay, interesting. I did not know about that, so I will definitely gonna be have a look at prestige. Maybe not today. Maybe in the next stream. Maybe. But they are all prestige related. Oh, okay, interesting. But I guess in order for you to get a full sense of the game, you definitely have to play all game mode at least once or twice to get a feel of how it works, right? Okay, now I feel the lack of power in my drill strength. So the other things that I've never tried before, or I did try but never got far with it, is the assessor. This is the engineer. Okay, yeah, the assessor. I've never played a lot of the assessor because um, it has a steep learning curve, to say the least. Oh god, come on, man. Okay. Okay, this is... Okay, we just... Okay, we do have one resurrection, but I do not want to waste it on this early level just yet. I have to say, I hate the flying enemies so much when playing the Tesla Dome. Because the reticle at the beginning is very slow. Okay, so what can we upgrade? Okay, let's use the overcharge and the longer lasting fruit thingy. And why not? Let's have a mining boost as well. Okay, Assessor is hard to learn but really strong. If you have inventory upgrade, you also have auto repair. It does the repair automatically for you if you hit 0 HP. Inventory upgrade? Wait, what do you mean? You mean... You mean this? The carry strength? Or do you mean... Inventory, huh? I did not know about that. What do you mean? Inventory management? Oh shoot, where is it? Oh, is it on the assessor one? You already have it? What? Oh, this one. Okay, interesting. Oh, okay, okay, I understand. Sometimes I did play this with the HUD modifier on, so that makes, oh god, okay, there's a lot of this. Okay, let's just put this in the lift. Oh, by the way, Zimni, I think I've said this before, but if you have to compare between a teleporter and the lift, which one do you choose? Because for me, in my limited playtime, I do have to say I am liking the lift much better than the normal teleporter. But that's just me. Oh god, okay. Okay, let's... Okay, what else can we do? Okay, I definitely gonna need to do something about this bad habit of mine of not looking at the enemy bar. Oh god, okay. Oof, yeah, this one. I should definitely gonna do this. Whew. Very cool, very cool. Lift is better because it does not take spot in dome basement, but teleporter is somewhat better since its efficiency is stable, and for lift it drops with mine depth. Oh. Okay, speaking of mine depth, I should increase my lift. Keeper lift, okay. I do see that. I do see the pros and cons of everything. Maybe I should play more of the teleporter to get a better sense of everything. But I have to say though, the upgrade that allows you to see like 2 rows instead of 1 is so good. It makes the exploring part of the game so much easier. And look at that, I can already see the things that I need to do. Uh-oh, okay. Come on, just a little bit. Okay, just whatever. Oh shoot, okay. Oh no. Okay, okay. Woo! Okay. Whew. Okay, that certainly can be a little bit messy. Okay, you know what? I am definitely gonna do something. Short power, definitely gonna do that. What is this? Nurture or persistent? I'm gonna go with persistent for now. And what else can we do? Nothing. We cannot do anything else for our Tesla Dome, that is. Uh, okay, nothing. Oh god. Okay, good. X-ray cave is awesome. It allows you to see too deep in both directions, so you could mine in every fifth block and still see everything. Yeah! So worth it for me. Okay, there's that. Oh, I should have bring some water. And speaking of water, there is a tree right here, if I remember correctly, that, okay, there we go. That has the cobalt note inside of it. Let's just see what kind of things we got. Okay, dome hull deflection or electrified hull. Okay, I think having the hull deflection is better because that is our main source of damage right now. And also because we have the snare root. So the snare root does um, help prevent melee monster from reaching our dome in the first place. So definitely gonna get the hull deflection. Hopefully I'm not doing anything wrong. But even if you do something wrong, you can still manage it. It's not the end of the world. Okay, 11. Hmm. Okay, there we go. Look at that. It's so worth it to get the upgraded Tesla Dome. have to go, okay. Thank you for dropping by, okay? Have a nice rest of your day. Ooh, okay. Another of this special supplement. Let's see what kind of things we will unlock. Resource converter. Ooh, okay. Um. Hmm. I mean, the probe is not, for me, if I remember correctly, it's not as good. But resource converter though, resource converter can be good. So I'm gonna choose the resource converter then. Okay, we don't have a lot of water. I think that's okay. We will see how it goes later on. Hello, Vigor. Hello, hello. How are you? Okay, having the lift so that we can return to the base much faster is very good. A bit nervous. Oh no, what happened? Okay, so we can do this additional buff duration. Okay, yeah, definitely gonna do that. Gonna do the mining boost. What is this? Duration. Should I take this? Explosive prey? You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Yesterday, your boss in the military told you that someone needs blood and you were the only one in the resting rooms that can give blood. So on Monday, you will go in the hospital for blood donation for the first time. Ooh, okay. That can be a nerve-wracking experience, huh? So wait, is your blood O positive? Why are you the only one that can that can give blood? The only time that would have this specific person to be able to donate blood is either you have a very very specific blood type that is Rh positive or Rh negative, or you are AB blood type. You're the only one because the others have problems in their blood or they already donated days ago. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I think you don't need to worry that much, Vigor. I mean, I have to say I am squeamish in regards to needles, but I personally haven't donated my blood, but I have my blood drawn for when I was sick. not sick, S-I-C-K. And they have to draw in a lot of blood in the process, so it can be a little bit squeamish to see these big ass needles going into your vein. But if you distract yourself and not look it, I think you'll be okay. They will take 550 ml of your blood, which is a bit more than a bottle of water, and you're scared if it hurts or if you passed out. Wait. When you after you donated your blood, do you not get any like recovery period from your military service? Maybe not for the full week, but maybe a day or two. You get 4 days. Okay, see, no worries, Vigor. You get see 4 days is quite a long time. Because in my experience in my country, if you donated blood on this country, you will get, I think, a minimum of 1 or 2 days only to recover. Don't quote on me on that. I might be wrong. So I'm not that well versed in the current practices. But last I remembered, it was only that, if not a time slip. But then again, you are in the military that requires a lot of physical activities, so it makes sense for you to have a much longer days to recover. You're sweating, you feel like you're inside an oven. Oof. What is the temperature in Greece? Because lately, the temperature in Malaysia is very, I'm gonna say, okay. It's not as hot, but it's still hot. The temperature is still like 32 on average, but it's not as hot like 36 and above. 49 Celsius. Oh no. Yeah, drink lots of fluids, okay, Vigor? especially especially since you are gonna be donating blood. Oh man, I hope you take very good care of yourself, okay? Man, heat stroke is not a joke. Tap water has become extremely hot. You need drink from the fridge. Oof. Yeah, I feel that. Maybe what I do normally is just I take my water bottle and just refill the bottle and let it cool down to a manageable temperature before I take a drink. Otherwise, it's gonna be too hot, isn't it? Wait, does the military serve, I mean, not serve, even have personal fridges, or is it a communal fridge? Does each barrack get its own personal fridge, or is it shared for the whole platoon? I'm not I'm not well versed in all this, so hey, there's no harm in asking. Oh shoot, it's the big guy. Okay, so definitely gonna need something to help me with this. Faster radical. Oh shoot! Oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, okay. That is very scared. You and your friends that you do roleplay a story you have told me about will add some new characters from a new cartoon on YouTube. Oh? What is the cartoon? And oh, okay, we have a lot of this. So we are definitely gonna need to bring this back up. The first episode is like the song intro, it's nothing else. Okay. Is it the what is it? The Amazing Circus or something like that? Is that it? I remember the past months it was very popular on Reddit. It's just about a school made out of papers with teachers and students that are also made out of papers. Oh, okay. So that's definitely not it, huh? That's interesting. Fundamental paper education. Got it. So wait, how many episodes does it have already? Whew, okay. Man, it. Oh god. Okay, so this is a bomb. It's a very powerful bomb. On top of that, so I'm not gonna waste it right now. Okay, interesting, interesting. So many things happening. Yeah, I definitely gonna need something to improve my drill. It only has that song episode. Okay, interesting. How long has it been out? The first episode, that is. Okay, so definitely gonna do drill speed increase. A couple of days. Oh, okay, so it's very recent then. Okay. Makes sense, makes sense. Okay, so we have 5, which is not enough to do anything else. We can do the nurture electro orc, but yeah, I think the next thing that I need to do is the short power one. So we need around 32 iron. What is going on here? I don't understand. Uh, Tell me some characters from the story you do with your friends and try to guess how many people each characters have killed. Oh god. That took a turn. Yes, sure, why not? I can guess. I did not expect it to take such a dark turn. Okay, I think that that should be good. Let's get this out. Reshiram, the second strongest character in the story, an immortal Pokemon god, and your friend's best friend. Reshiram, the second strongest character in the story, an immortal Pokemon god, your friend's best friend. And I have to guess how many it has killed, right? I want to say around 1k? Is 1k too modest? 1k people. I think it's too modest, but let's start with that. It has killed 2. Okay, interesting. So I was a little bit too too extreme with my kill count, huh? Let's do what else? Depth? Yeah, let's do that. Ooh, nice. He just usually imprison them. Your friend? Okay. Oh, okay. Uh, this one. Okay. What about you? In the story, you are a hedgehog that can become a snake warrior, a werewolf, or a robot at will. Have tons of guns on your body and very smart. And 40% of your invasion usually explode on your face. Oof. And I have to guess how many that you have killed, right? Um, I wanna say, since I got two, I overestimate the previous kill count. I'm gonna bring down my estimation to maybe around 500, 200 to 500. That is the range. That is my estimation. 8,508. Wow. Okay. Bigger. Do you like to kill people? So are you the strongest character in the game? Not in the game. In the lore? At the past, you were evil, but then you will save a what? You save a baby skelt. The oh god, uh, Draggled, Draggled. You have as your friend now and kill your boss's half army. You're not even the top 50 strongest, but you got so many kills. Even the second strongest character only have a kill count of 2. Okay. Let's bring up the resources. What about Malaysia? Your country, but as a human form. Ooh. I'm not sure what to choose, huh? Interesting. So, is there any criteria to do a characterization in the lore, or is it up to my creativity? Okay, interesting. Well, for countries kill count are increases when they or their military kills someone. Oof. Yeah, I'm not that. I'm not sure how many kill count my country has. So yeah, maybe in terms of in the past, maybe. Oh God, I don't know. Do I have to look back at the to get my inspiration from the history part of Malaysia, or is it the current military power? So many things to take into consideration. Okay, so I should heal my dome. That is. Just choose a random number. Okay. I wanna say that, yeah, maybe around 1K. Not too modest, but not too extreme. It's 1.1K. Okay. The one thing I'm sad about my country is that our country used to be in the past used to be very good at maritime trading. What happened, man? What happened to my country? They fell off the radar quite, 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 quite quickly, I have to say. How about Hornet from Hollow Knight? Ooh. Uh, Hornet is a killer, right? I want to say 20K. Yeah, 20K sounds good. Come on, man. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. Holy crap, okay. You... Oof. Okay, let's see. What else can we do? Definitely gonna need to increase my shot power. And then let's do the radical increase. 2090, okay. Oh, not not as close as you, bigger, but but eh, I'm quite shocked that she has a very low kill count. I would expect she has to be a killing machine. Oh man, it's. I wonder how far along the development of Hollow Knight 2. I mean, Hades already gotten a sequel at this point. You would think that since they were already footage of the game in the Nintendo Direct, you would think that it would be very close or further into development. But I'm quite surprised that we didn't get any news regarding the game. But then again, I feel like that's okay. It's not like I'm able to play it with my current setup. Miss Boomy, she is the science teacher in the paper school. She has wait. She has what? She has lost one of her arm and replaced it with a big knife. She teaches high level science. What is high level science? Is it chemistry? Is it physics? Or is it something else? Hard stuff. What is the hard stuff? I do and physics, chemistry, but the hard things. Okay. I do want to say if it's chemistry, especially advanced chemistry, you could do a lot of damage with that, especially in chemical warfare. I want to say 10k minimum. How's that? 76k? Whoa. Yeah, I'm not surprised, I have to say. Oh, okay. I got too greedy there. Okay, let's go up. The thing is that Miss Boomy teaches advanced stuff on 15 to 17 years old on purpose so they fail her test and therefore kill them. Oh god, okay, why? Is that the lore that the paper high school thingy does? That is very morbid to have in their class. If they if Miss Boomy have that high kill count, Does she have any students left? Miss Pavel, the language teacher in the paper school, and unlike Miss Bumi, Miss Pavel teaches baby level language. Okay, interesting. She has both of her arms still. Okay. That is a huge distinction to me. So, okay. I understand the lore now. So, the lore says that if you lose your appendages, you become evil. Nice. Okay, I feel like we are making a lot of progress this time. Ooh, okay. Definitely gonna open this up. So how many kills do you think she has? Okay. Um, I know in certain literature, in certain novels, it's the trope of having this seemingly harmless person that deals the most damage. So I want to assume that she has around 15k kills. It's either 15k or 10. No in between. Oh, see? 165k. I knew it. I knew it. Okay, a teleporter. Ooh. Okay, I did say that I want to do a teleporter, right? So let's do it. Nice, nice. Let's bring the teleporter with us so that we can do basic teleportation. I totally forgot that I still have this iron in this deposit here. Let's bring it to the left. Miss Circle, the math teacher of the People's School, able to change her size to be small or her normal tall size, lost one arm and replaced it with a huge geometry compass. And how many do I think that she has killed? Maybe around 500 to 1k? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I go too low? That's just the mood that I'm getting from her name. I don't know. So how many that she killed? $3 million? Whoa. Okay, that that is too much. Too much and too extreme, I have to say. How can she kill so much? What is the lore behind it? What is the reasoning behind it? Ooh, what is this? Oh, this is... okay, this is just the boost. Okay, let's go with the hard rock first. Unlike the two other teachers, Miss Circle doesn't just kill her students, she brutally kills them and eats their dead corpses. Yikes. But why? You still didn't answer my question, Vigor. Why she did it in the first place? I don't know. Maybe she's a psycho. Oh god. Yeah, definitely a psycho then. I'm coming. Okay, we have 45 iron, so that's good. That means we definitely gonna need to upgrade something. Radical speed, or should I get the persistent orb level 2? Gonna go with the auto aim then. And then got the persistent orb. Okay. That that should be good. Princess Alice, the entire reason behind the People School, she is the one pulling the strings, told everyone that when she isn't bothered, she will let students and teachers do whatever they want. Oof. So she's the mastermind behind everything, huh? So since she is the mastermind, I would expect that she doesn't have a very high kill count because she lets others do the dirty work for her. So that's the feeling that I am getting. So maybe around, I don't know, 10, because that's the vibe that I'm getting from her, from the name that is. I might be wrong. 8 billion. Whoa, she's busy. That's the entire human population, right? Is there even people in this in this universe anymore? How do people reproduce in this dimension? Ooh, already? Okay, I want to say already, but it's taking us 2 hours. 2 hours to make any sort of progress. In the story, the paper school get 10 million students every month. Okay, got it. So there's a lot of people in this universe then. So gotcha. Okay, I definitely gonna need to upgrade my fruit effect length. But for now, we are gonna upgrade our superconductivity. Yeah, superconductivity. Cool. Oh, okay. in your story, Earth has 20 to 30 billion people. You should tell me that in the first place figure. Then I can make a good estimation. I don't know the basic premises of the lore. Okay, we have a lot of water, I have to say. Okay, so we definitely gonna go back up, but not before I take this fruit. Oh God, no! Whoops. Okay, that works in our favor then. Okay. So I'm not sure just how big is this map is. I've never tried the huge map before, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, we have a lot, so we definitely gonna need to fully upgrade our Tesla Dome so that we can stand a chance against this horde of enemies coming through. Ooh, nice. Okay, okay. Okay, interesting. Uh, man. I thought, okay, I did activate it, okay. Oh no, I hate this type of rock where it's gonna take me quite a long time. Okay, I'm not gonna waste my time doing that right now. We are gonna explore a bit. And there we go. There's something that we never got. Oh, there's the bomb. I forgot about those bombs. Okay, okay, got it, got it. Okay, I'm coming, I'm coming. Okay. So what else can we do to improve our... Okay, so we need 2 more iron. Okay. Can I... No. Nothing else is good. I'm just curious, where is it that we got the... Ooh, there's... Okay, you have a lot of... Okay. I did not check it for quite a while. So now we have a ton of those cobalt thingy. Interesting. Speaking of interesting, there is this part that we never explore. Oh, hello! Too much. Okay, too much. Uh-oh, not enough. Okay. I wonder if there's anything that I'm missing from the left side. I'm just gonna look around for a bit and then we go back up. Yeah, definitely gonna go back up. You know, this rocks reminds me of chocolate cake. And now I want to eat chocolate cake. God damn it. I'm gonna dig as deep as I can. Okay, we have reached the end, I assume. Nope. So this is gonna be tricky because there's this huge block of really dense rock that we have to get through, and there's already the relic. I mean, technically I can simply find the notes and then end the game. Now you show up, bitch. You're so far away. Like, dude. Oh, now there's no water. Okay, interesting. Okay. I come back to this spot in the coming days. I love the Tesla Dome. When it's fully upgraded, it's so strong. And you get the satisfaction of popping these monsters like you're popping Zit. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. Okay. Definitely gonna choose the quick shot. And we don't have anything else. Oh, okay, we can do this. We can do the fruit effect length increase. Okay. Is it further down? I already forgot. I think it is further down. This one? Oh, right, okay. Oh no, without the fruit, it's so sluggish. That's okay. Oh, water, okay. Wow, okay. Yeah, this is painful, isn't it? Okay, I definitely gonna go ahead and yeah, let's do that. Then teleport back up. You gotta go, Vigor. Okay, have a nice rest of your day, and hopefully you get enough rest so that you can donate blood without any problems. I'll see you later, okay? Okay, the thing there is doing its job. Problem is right now is how to find the rest of the collectibles on this map, on this planet. Nice. Okay, is it this one? Did I finish this? No, I don't think so. Okay, I didn't. Ooh, there's a lot of iron nodes. Okay, and then we just have to wait until the octopus do its job in the meantime. Oh, okay. Interesting. I was thinking of doing something else. Okay. I wonder where the octopus is going. Hello, dude. We have a lot of things that needs to be done here. Oh, there we go. The little guy is doing its work. Go, dude, go. While you do that, I'm just gonna go ahead and return back to the base. Okay, so, and think about what other things that we want from our upgrade. Technically, I can use this, so that we can have a better movement. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna take that. Man, we have 19 cobalt. I did not realize that we have that much. Interesting that there's no new notes. I wonder how people speedrun this game. That's always an interesting point to see a game that you thought, oh, this game can't be speedrun. Then you'll see people, very talented people, manage to speedrun the game to hell and back much faster than I can even do a single run. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how they circumvent all the RNG that they have in this game. I wanna say it's RNG. The placement of the note and everything doesn't seem like something that the developers can predict or put uh, without making the game predictable. I mean, the color palette in this game is really good. I love that the crystal effect that they do on the Tesla Dome. So cool. Okay, I think we can just safely go ahead and find the notes. There we go. And go ahead and unlock the relic. Oh, there we go. Nice. So it took me around 2 hours. 2 hours to... This is on the normal difficulties, the easiest difficulty out of the three. And although the map size is huge, still... Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Okay, I still have one resurrection left. Ooh, okay. Oh no, okay. So I've used the resurrection thingy. So this is gonna be tough, isn't it? Oof. Hello? Oh shoot. Okay, interesting. Interesting. The game could have been uh, more clear whether or not you are in the console or not. Nice. Okay, interesting, interesting. We won. Oh, another modifier unlocked. Okay, projectile shield. What is the run modifier? Unlock every battle utility from the orchard. Interesting. Um. Ooh. Iron deposits are much richer. Okay, that is really something, huh? Okay. So, okay. That is it for Dome Keeper for this stream. So, that the huge map does take one one whole thingy, one whole stream to do. Okay. So, I'm gonna test something, and if it's not gonna work on stream, then I'll definitely have to just give up on streaming Hades game, Hades 2 that is. I've been trying to do some stuff. Man, I'm I'm so sad that if this game I cannot stream because Hades 1 I did manage to stream it during the first uh one of the first few games that I managed to stream on this channel. Um and then recently, only recently, I don't know what happened. The game become laggy and all that. I am setting the games on very low settings. otherwise otherwise I can really expect this game to really really struggle. Okay. Let me do this. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Please work.
Few tales are told of Hades, whose reign as grim lord of the
Okay.
dead came to a sudden end when all at once his past caught up with him. But gods do not go quietly, and history repeats. So this tale was only a matter of time.
Death to Kronos.
Oh shoot. Yes. Okay. Okay. It does work.
Vengeance for my family.
Okay. Um we're gonna see how far we can get and then we end the stream. Okay, first thing first, let me do this. Oh god, yes, yes. Okay. Uh, hell yeah. Oh my god, yes. Okay. So I did play this level, but I do not want to spoil myself. Okay, let me try to remember. That is my special. That is my cost. Interestingly enough. Okay, this
Whose
is
souls I'll
Apollo.
make the Titan pay.
So interestingly enough, this our cast has become a binding circle. Oh god.
Fall back to dust.
Okay, so the gameplay is a little bit different than when you played as Zagreus, but you'll get used to it, I guess.
Just a spell. It's just another spell. 10 words. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
Ooh.
Greetings from Olympus and well met there, Sunshine. Look, we can't get to the Titan, but if you truly mean to stop him, then the least I can do is light your way down.
I love all the character design in this game. I love it. Okay. So the first time I played this, I used the Nova Strike? If I remember correctly. Okay, so let's just use this then.
They need my aid. I'll see if I need theirs. Face me.
Nice. Okay. Inventory, okay. Mostly used for unlocking Arcana cards. So what is this? Okay, so full disclaimer, I've only played until this part. Woo! Okay, so there's armor already.
A gift.
Ooh, Demeter. Demeter. Sure. Let's go see Grandma.
Whalers.
Whalers. What do you do? Oh. Surprisingly enough, this game
Sigil of
runs
Frost.
much smoother than Hades 1. What the
Headmistress
heck
told me so
happened?
much about you, and now at last we meet. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
You look just
Oh
like your mother.
my
I'll
god.
not lose her again. I shall freeze hell in its entirety if that is what it takes to get her back. You'll help me, won't you, granddaughter?
Yo, all the characters are like, well, they are in a war, right? Against Kronos. Ooh, okay, interesting.
Grandmother.
What is this? What is this? Weed Killer. Winter Coat. What is Prime? A passive reduction to your magic limit until the next location. I'm not sure how it works, and anything that limits my resources is something that I do not want. Let's take Rigid Sprint.
For my mother.
Poseidon. Okay, let's go see Poseidon then.
A root stalker.
Root Stalker. Oh shoot. Oh.
Got to move.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. Interesting. Come on, man. Okay, interesting. Holy crap, you deal so much damage. Okay, now that your armor has broke, time for me to deal some damage.
Foul spawn of my father's brothers, aren't you? Then help him. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
My long-lost niece, you live! We thought you met the same fate as your father, and your mother, and your brother. Oh. Well, how about we turn the tide and exact terrible revenge for poor old Hades and his kin?
Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh no, it's lagging on stream. Oh no. Oof. Okay. Fluid gain. With flourish. Blood control. It's another prime, huh? Prime 30 magic to reduce any damage you take. But fluid gain is what? Restore 20 magic when you touch it, expired when used or after 30 seconds. That sounds good, so I'm gonna take fluid gain then.
May all our enemies drown. Who else?
Woo! Okay, okay, fluid gain is good.
Molly.
Molly? Oh, Karen? Karen?
Breathing.
Karen! Oh no, I don't have any... I don't have any money. Oh! Karen doesn't have any art yet. Interesting.
I'm in your debt, Lord Charon. These provisions surely shall make all the difference in my task. What gold I find is yours.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna take magic.
Try to focus.
More health. Santos heart. Woohoo! Oh, come on, man. Uh-oh. Ooh. Come on, come on, come on. Survive.
All laid to rest.
I just need to survive. What? Okay. Interesting. Oh no. I'm stupid.
A palm of power.
A palm of power in it. Ooh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna take the strike.
These still grow in the underworld.
I'm not sure what the psyche does.
Spindles.
Come on, man. Oh! Come on, man. Come on. Whew.
There.
Okay. I'm gonna
Can't
die.
recover here. Need to press on.
I'm gonna die. I'm so gonna die. I don't have any money. Okay,
Thank you
that's
for your
okay.
service. Headmistress.
There she is.
There I am.
You reached the edge of Erebus already. You have surpassed
Oh my god, look at this
expectations,
character. Look at
Malinois.
this cut up person. Hecate,
Thank you,
the
Headmistress
three-faced
For all
god.
your guidance and the compliment.
In my place, you'd have done the same. However, now is not the time for pleasantries. It is for a demonstration of your capability.
My capability. You'd have us face each other here, even though my task has already begun.
Your training shall never be complete. And I would
I
know
love the
if
moon
you stand
motifs.
any chance at all against our enemy. Crossed flames awaken.
Okay, interesting. Ooh. Come on, man. What the okay. I'm okay. I'm not taking any chances. What the okay. Okay.
Arise, sister.
Arise. What the ah. Okay. Woo. Okay. I'm sorry if I scream a lot.
Press the attack. We are as one.
Oh no, what is this? No. Okay. Ah! Ah!
Beware.
Come on.
Well done.
Oh shoot! Oh shoot! It's a homing!
Never used
What
to
the
miss.
okay. Okay. Okay, that I am confused! No! Oh shoot, okay. What is going on? Run! Run! Okay. Okay. What the fuck? Okay. What the freaking frick? Okay. Fuck. Okay. I don't have any magic. Come on, drop some bubbles or something like that. Oh! Come on, come on! Okay, there's another bubble. Oh fuck, yes! Okay, that wasn't that hard.
You fought with diligence and with ferocity. But surely there is
He
more for
says,
you to learn
as
beyond
he got
this
5 more
threshold.
HP. I'm basically just one hit away from death.
I look forward to it, Headmistress. What about you? Can you not join me?
No, I dare not stray too far from our abode. Continue now your task. I shall await your safe return.
Thank you, Headmistress.
What is this?
I passed the test.
Holy crap. I did not expect for me to win.
The pathway's down.
Oh, what? It only healed that much?
Beginning descent.
Oh, what? There's no map? Oceanus? Ocean...
That singing.
Oceanus. Oceanus.
Lurkers.
Okay, interesting. Okay. No! No, 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 no! No, no! No, no! I don't have magic.
I can't.
I can't.
A centaur heart.
Ooh, okay. We got food.
Down the drain. Serpents.
What the heck is this? What the heck? Okay, interesting. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting.
They're slowing down.
Oh, come on. Ooh. Okay, okay, interesting, interesting.
Pinheads.
Oh no! Okay. Oh, what?
Really?
How far is your range, dude? Holy crap. Okay. Oh no. Stop. There's too many.
Not good enough.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, Demeter. Fine. I know this is a boss room.
Now that's a sea serpent.
Oh god. Ah! Oh fuck. Okay.
Return to Shadow now.
Okay, I did get that far on my first try.
Back already. Damn it.
What is this?
You might like it down in Oceanus better than I do right now.
Oceanus. Okay, so I was correct in the pronunciation. What is this?
This old unfinished
Persephone,
painting.
Zagreus,
look
and
away.
Hades.
Don't forget all that the Titan took from you.
And look at us as little baby. Wow, Hades have such huge hand. Oh, hello?
Who dares disturb my eternal rest? You trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch. Speak!
That was pretty decent, right, Mel? Maybe pushing it. Okay if I call you witch like that?
Dora?
Which worked for me in context. And a solid haunting all in all, Dora. But I'd better run.
Dora the
Something I have to do.
Explorer?
Then be gone.
Stand tall and show no weakness.
What is this? What is this for?
The rivers overflowed back there.
Interesting. What is this? Nothing here. Oh, hello?
Times. Already hit a wall.
Nemesis?
Knocked your
Holy
scrawny
crap.
ass all the way back here.
Muscle Mommy?
It's insane that she's sending you out on foot, all on your own.
Your skepticism's duly noted.
There you are.
Whoop, what is
Come here.
The
this?
crossroads. That haven hidden twixt the surface and the underworld conceals those still loyal to Lord Hades, rightful ruler of the dead.
Together we'll retake my father's realm.
'Twas a worthwhile first attempt, Malinois. I trust you'd have gone farther still had I not obstructed your path. Quite unsuccessfully, I concede.
You needed to ensure I was prepared, Headmistress Hecate. And I know there is much left to prove.
Just so. Trust well your instincts and your craft and continue the task. Death to Kronos.
Death to Kronos.
Death to Kronos. It's being purified.
Ooh. Interesting.
Tell me you killed the bastard.
Holy crap.
Drove your staff into his wretched skull, slid a dagger in his gut.
Odysseus?
Not that he'd die from that. Works on mortals, though.
I've nothing to report, Odysseus. Not yet.
Well, you'll get him next time, I reckon.
What is this?
Hi, gang. Headmistress must have some important
Oh
tasks
shoot!
for
I
you.
thought this is a person with a dog head. that is standing, but it's dog. It's a black dog and a weasel? Something like that. Oh, hello? Hypnos?
We'll find a way to wake you, O sleep. I promise.
Interesting.
My altar.
Oh, what is this? The sorceress, while you channel your omega moves, everything moves slower. So I'm assuming this is the charge attack. Okay.
The sorceress.
The furries deal 20% more damage to foes in your cast. Ooh, sounds good. And what is this? Ooh, the Wayward Sun. After you exit a location, restore 2 health, or twice that if you have no more than 30%.
The Wayward Sun. The Furies.
Okay, so... Okay, interesting. Okay, so each of these cards is a direct reference to characters in the game previously. So the Sorceress, I think, is us. The Furies is the Erinyes. The Wayward Sun is Zagreus. Titan is, well, the Titan. Swift Runner is Hermes. And the Huntress is Artemis. Interesting.
That'll do.
Disciples,
Skelly?
attention! A battle lost. But this is war,
Oh,
young one, and you have many battles yet to come.
Scalamaeus.
The only question is, are you prepared to win? I'm not so sure here, so let's see you give me 20.
Okay.
Commander Scalamaeus, sir.
Disciples, back to lab. All right, that's enough. Unless you want to keep going. I shall return.
Okay,
Forgive me, sir.
interesting. What else?
See?
It is Skelly. Why do you name yourself Scalamaeus? And how do you change your character model? So does that mean he was nude in the first game? Ooh, what is this? Ugh,
These blasted wards.
Cease messing with that thing.
Okay.
The arms of night are
This
now
is
at my
Blade,
disposal.
Umbral Flame,
Or shall be,
Moonstone
soon
Axe. Okay,
Much more than just this staff bathing in there.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I will definitely gonna be playing more of this game on stream. Okay, oh god, I can't believe that this game is playable. Okay, yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this stream. Thank you to Vigo450. Thank you to Zimni5 for accompanying me on today's stream on this experimental day, I should say. We are playing Dome Keeper in the first half, or I should say the first 3/4. And then we played a little bit of Hades. Yeah, I will be definitely be playing more of this game. I really am excited to see what kind of things that we can unlock, and yeah, overall excited. Thank you. Okay, but for now I will bid adieu. Thank you so much for watching, and tomorrow we will be playing more of Dave the Diver. Yeah, we'll be playing more Dave the Diver, so that look forward to that. We'll see how far we can get in that game and just how much that we can do. But for now, I'm gonna call it a day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Goodbye.